Hello everyone, in this video we are going to see about the concept of constructor and destructor in C++. So what is a constructor is, as the name implies, constructor constructs the data. For a programming part we have some data, we need some data, okay. So those data has to be given some memory area and it should be allocated some memory area for the reference either with the name, okay. So for that we have to create the constructor. Actually we are not even if we don't explicitly create the constructor, C++ by default it creates the constructor. That means once you define a class and then you assign allocate some variable for the class, automatically the constructor is called, okay. So now let us see the definition of constructor and how the constructor can be used in the program. Here it is a member function of a class. We all know that a class is a combination of data and function, member and methods. So here constructor is a member function of the class and it has the same name as the class name. Suppose if the class name is X, the constructor name is also X. So the class name is the same name, it is also case sensitive. I am using caps for the class name, use the same for the constructor also. Otherwise the system cannot accept that as a constructor. You know it is Java, you know it is C++, the class name is case sensitive, okay. So now have the same name as the class name, and then what is the use of the constructor is this constructor helps to allocate the memory to an object of the class. Once we create a class and instantiate the object for the class, automatically for all the data the memory will be allocated. It can be defined manually with arguments or without arguments. That means a constructor can be a default constructor, it may be a parameterized constructor, and there can be many constructors. For a class there can be many constructors and there are also many different types of constructors also, and it can be overloaded but it cannot be inherited or virtual. That means, as here the previous point says, many constructors means one constructor with the default argument, one constructor with the one single argument, one constructor may be with two arguments. So the same name class having different parameters in the function call. So that is the overloading. So here the constructor may have no parameters, single parameter or multiple parameters, and it cannot be inherited. We cannot have like how we inherit the class, we cannot inherit the constructor, and also cannot be virtual. And a default constructor is a constructor that either has no parameters, or if it has parameters, all the parameters have default values. And how it is written, the syntax is class name and then open braces, and then you have to give the constructor body. This constructor may have some initialization of the variables being used in the class, and then you have to close the class definition. And now how the destructor is defined is, it is also a member function of the class. It has the names same name of the class name but preceded by a tilde operator. So you can see here tilde symbol and then the class name, that is the destructor definition. It helps to deallocate the memory of an object. As the constructor constructs the object, destructor destructs the object and releases the memory area for the other data to occupy, other object to occupy. So this maintains the memory management process. There is always a single destructor without any parameters, so it cannot be overloaded. So there is the main difference here. Constructor can be overloaded and can have single parameter or no parameter or multiple parameters, but here this single destructor is a single destructor. There is no that cannot be overloaded. It is always a single destructor, as it is logical to think that the destructor destructs the memory area allocated by the constructor and releases the memory area. The syntax is tilde symbol, class name, and then open brace and close brace, nothing else inside the definition of the constructor. And then a sample program is given and its output also is given. So you are considering the class Z, and then after some after opening the brace, Z colon, this is a constructor, class name Z, constructor name Z, and then what is the content of the constructor is cout constructor called end line, just to say that the constructor is called, and then again Z int a comma int b constructor with arguments. Here we are assuming some variable for a, and then we are displaying some value. We can write any C plus coding inside the constructor concept. Okay, and then tilde symbol Z, this is then destructor. So destructor, just you have to display the destructor is called, that is a display function. This sample program just to say that how the constructor can be defined and they can be declared. So now here you can see here in the main function Z1, that means Z1 is an object created for the constructor Z, and then just you are making some instruction to make, just your checking is done just to call the second constructor in order to initialize the variables, and then destructor no need be called explicitly. Automatically when you close the particular program, destructor will be called, and also you can see the order. First initial Z2 is being called second, and the destructor releases the constructor for Z2, and then it releases the constructor for Z1. That means it destructs the object of Z2 first, and then destruct the objects of Z1. So how the output will be: constructor call this statement, constructor call this statement, destructor call this statement, and destructor call this statement. So this is how the constructor and destructor helps in allocating and deallocating the memory area for the objects used in the programming in C++. Hope you understood the simple concept of constructor and destructor. Thanks for watching.